On a fine, beautiful winter day with the wind is about 45 miles an hour, and we're safe and nice and warm in the brewery. We're here today with Rich and Judy White at Magic Valley Brewery.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Isn't this great? We've been trying to do this forever, it feels like.
So we got flight glasses set up here. We've got our list back here on the blackboard. What would you like to try?
One of everything?
Yeah, let's do them all.
I mean, we need another flight.
We're going to need a limo and maybe an Uber or two.
We are in Coors country.
Oh, geez.
Most of the barley grown in this area goes to Coors, the two-row barley. We get it from Washington, and we get it from a local guy over in Pocatello. We actually purchase a lot of Yakima hops. We purchase from Mill 95, which is just south of Boise.
Okay.
And then most of the rest of them come from Yakima hops.
Yakima. Yeah, we hear a lot of good things. They're Azaka and other hops that they have.
We're going to set you up with our Blue Heart Blonde, which is our lightest beer. It's the closest thing to Coors.
It's like water?
No.
No
ours
flavor?
has flavor.
It has flavor?
Ours has flavor. We're going to set you guys up. Last beer we're going to try is going to be our El Diablo JPA. It's a jalapeno IPA.
Ooh, neat.
Oh, that's the J.
And the reason that we're going to set you up with that last is because it does tend to linger on the palate, but at the same time, it's converted a few Coors drinkers. You guys pick what you'd like here as far as a stout or a Irish Red. What would you like, Chef?
Irish Red.
Irish Red.
We're ordering off the menu. You've got a seasonal drink out right now that is for Valentine's Day. Let me do a chocolate cherry porter. Let's
Yeah,
give
that's
it a
Really?
shot.
I've never tried that one. That sounds interesting.
Gunnar, you got one?
Well, it looks like 3, 4, 6, and 2. Let's do the 4.
A 4. Okay.
And that is
Well,
the
there you
Shoshone paintbrush.
Number 3 is the Blue Heart Blonde.
Okay.
Number 4 is the Irish Red, the Shoshone Paintbrush.
Boy, it's beautiful. Look at that color.
The
Yeah,
number
it's
6 is our chocolate cherry porter. Number 2 is the El Diablo. Couple of things about the beers. Blue Heart is a inlet here on the Snake River. Down, we're on the Thousand Springs bypass.
Is it actually blue?
It is blue.
It
It is cobalt blue. It sits somewhere around 50 degrees year round. It is crystal clear. It's one of those places where the spring keeps the mud pushed out from the Snake River, and you can see probably 30 feet down. It looks like you could reach a rock. The Shoshone paintbrush is named after the Indian paintbrush, which is kind of a big deal here in the desert. Chocolate cherry porters, just because chocolate and cherries and it tastes good. El Diablo JPA, another inlet on the Snake River, Devil's Corral. The El Diablo Corral JPA, we just kind of shorten it up. It's way too much to say. We try to pick names for our beers that are kind of local. We've got our Basalt Stout, which is named after the rock around here. The Black Trout, typically we have a Golden Trout on. Those two make a really awesome black and tan. The Blonde and the Basalt Stout make a good black and tan. We've got our Bogberry Wheat, which is another holidays kind of beer. It's a cranberry wheat beer. Little tart from the cranberry, got a nice pink color. We've got our Rock Chuck Imperial Red, which is literally the Irish Red, which you guys are about to try, just cranked up to 10%.
Yeah, I was going to say, that one will bite you if you have several of them.
Real nice IBUs, 25 IBUs. The Rock Chuck is about 4.8, somewhere in there. Shoshone Paintbrush is about a 5.6. Chocolate Cherry Porter is closer to a 6. And the Jalapeno is 7.2.
So let's try this. This was the Blonde?
Blue Heart Blonde, I would say Skull.
Skull, brother. To you guys, thanks for having us in today. What a blast.
It's got a little flavor.
Yeah, it's
A little more
fantastic.
than Coors.
There's a lot more flavor.
Yeah.
To me, I can taste a little bit more hop load in there.
What is the
Yeah, this
IBU on this?
That one is
20.
sitting at 20.
Am I right? I'm right. Ooh.
Here's to Judy again. She knows her stuff. Rich here, he's an open book. If you have questions, get a hold of this guy.
Yeah.
He'll help you.
If he doesn't know the answer, he'll make one up.
I'm good at that too.
What's your favorite beer? What do you like?
You know, honestly, on the board today, well, I'm drinking a jalapeno. I think my favorite on the board today is the chocolate cherry porter. It's really nice and smooth. You get a little bit of cherry up through your nose. You get the chocolate on your palate. It's just a nice beer.
Oh, cool. I'm excited to try that one here in a minute. What's the next one we're moving into? It's number 4. That's the Shoshone Paintbrush Irish Red. ABV 5.6.
It's an Irish red.
I wanted to call it the Indian paintbrush. Went online, found out that there's a lot of Indian paintbrush beers. Shoshone is a native Indian tribe that was here in southern Idaho. Shoshone paintbrush.
Paintbrush. I mean, is that a type of sage? Or
It is.
what
It's a beautiful little flower. They grow about this tall, a bright red tip.
Interesting.
On the top of them, they typically glow like a little bunch.
Very sessionable. That's an all day long drink, that all day long beer.
4.8-ish, 4.9-ish. A 6-pack of those, you'll know you did it.
You know you drank something.
One dead soldier.
So I don't spill on myself. So Judy, tell it, what do you do here? I mean, I know you're an owner, part owner, the owner,
I'm
whatever.
thinking, what doesn't she do, Chef?
Yeah.
That's
I
a question.
The only thing I do not do is brew. Everything else that has to do with this business, I do. I'm one of the main cooks here, well, not necessarily in Twin, but I'm also a server during the day, server on Saturday nights. Hopefully we can get some help in here so I don't have to work so much.
I heard that. I feel that way every single day. What do you hate? Like, oh God, I can't believe someone ordered this. I got to make this.
El Diablo bites. They take forever.
Now you know what to order when you come in. Just
Keep
to make
ordering
Judy happy.
Okay, so an El Diablo bite, we take whole jalapenos, give it a little slice, get all the seeds out. We have a cheese blend that we press together and fill the cavity with the pepper.
Okay, right.
And then we have a German brat that we get locally here, right here in our own town. And, take the casing off, squish it out, little patty, roll up the peppers into the patty. And then we have a breadcrumb that we just roll that around in there. And then we bake it for about 12 to 13 minutes. It's time consuming. When you've got a lot of orders coming up and then you got to stop what you're doing to spend all this time
making
on these
that thing.
peppers.
They're made to order.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything's fresh. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's made fresh. They're made to order. It is basically a jalapeno popper that's rolled up in a 1/4 pound of sausage and then baked.
Does that sound divine? I'm just saying.
Mainly dig it out because I need the room for the cheese. So
Every little bit helps, boys and girls.
This paintbrush is really a good beer.
Yeah,
I know for a
quite
long
delicious.
time until the Broadway Brown came around, this is what I always drank when I came in here. Did you have this before the Brown?
We did.
I used to drink the brown. When we started making the brown, that was my go-to beer.
Yeah.
And then when
I knew I loved you.
our porter was starting to be made, I switched to the porter because I love porters.
Me
And
too.
it took forever for us to get a porter in here.
Our porter
Was that a dig? I'm just checking.
It was a dig.
Our porter is a pre-prohibition porter. It's actually my son's recipe. It is brewed with ingredients that were available prior to Prohibition. Into the 70s or so, there weren't a lot of darker malts and crystal malts and things like that. And then they started hitting the scene. Prior to Prohibition, you kind of brewed with corn. So this has got some corn in it. It's got a little bit of dark malts in it. It's ingredients that were available pre-Prohibition. In today's world, you can get flaked maize it's pressed and steamed and flaked. A lot of malts in today's world are that way.
Well, that's really interesting. I didn't realize technology had moved that far forward that it's actually easier to break down the ingredients now to make beer.
Technology's moved a long ways. I actually started brewing in the late 80s. There was an article in the newspaper from Grape Fermentations in Santa Rosa, California. We drove 3 hours one way to pick up a kit. And when I bought my first kit, it was a can of extract with a little packet of yeast taped to the top. We got 2 cases of Coors bottles, some other stuff, started us on our way. Somehow that first batch turned out amazing. So that led to the next batch and the next batch. The cool part about it was at the time, the gentleman that owned the place had written several articles for Zymergy magazine. If you called, you got him on the phone and he would help you with recipe development. And he actually helped me put together the IPA. After I'd done that, a friend of mine's like, oh, you like hot food, why don't you make a hot beer? And so I threw jalapenos into my IPA and the JPA was born. JPA ended up taking an award back in 92, first in the Sonoma County Fair.
Okay.
Which qualified me to enter into the Nationals. Didn't hear back from them, so I was drinking the beer.
We were all drinking the beer.
We were all drinking the beer. Finally, I get this letter in the mail that says, hey, you need a 6-pack of beer sent to Colorado. And it was, oh crap,
Mhm.
what do you do? And so I went
We
out in
ran
the
to the
garage and found this 6-pack. I think that's what this is, but I don't know. Popped the cap. Yep, that's jalapeno, and recap the
Oh,
bottles.
geez.
That 6-pack ended up getting me second in the nationals.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
At
That's
that
cool.
time, pepper beer didn't exist. We had a gentleman come in right after we opened 7 years ago. All I drink is Coors Light. What do you got? And so I set up all the beers on the table, give him a sample of everything. Said, there's got to be something here you like. And to this day, the only thing he orders when he comes here is the jalapeno IPA.
Yeah. So you sold it to him right then and there.
He actually said I ruined him for Coors.
That's kind of cool that you turned somebody from Coors Light to the JPA.
Four of us ended up starting a brewery, not knowing anything about the world. In Rio Vista, California, we started Whitewater Brewing. That lasted 4 years, something like that, 4 or 5 years.
So this isn't your first rodeo.
It's
No.
not. This is the first one that I worked with my wife as my partner.
Yeah, I wasn't a partner in their little boy club.
The bromance.
The
There
bromance.
we go.
Chocolate cherry.
Chocolate cherry porter.
Ooh, I'm getting thirsty over here.
This is the Valentine's Day drink.
Who came up with the idea for this one?
I like chocolate cherries.
Yes, he does. Chocolate cherry cordials.
I can smell the cherry in the nose. I can smell the chocolate. I taste a little bit of the roast, and it's very chocolatey. And
Yeah, dark chocolate.
There's a lot of Hershey's cacao chocolate.
And real
Yeah.
cherries.
You
We
can
don't
really
use
taste it.
And real
and
cherries.
real cherries. Do not use flavored extracts in our beer. When we make our beers, we use the real.
the
deal.
real McCoy.
Recently, in the last year or so, you've opened up a new place in Twin Falls. What do you see as the future?
Future Magic Valley Brewing. We're kind of aiming toward trying to get distribution started again. COVID kind of put a blanket on that. We don't have a distribution manager right now. We've been kind of taking care of it in-house or ourselves.
Are you, by chance, hiring anyone for consumption? Because I'd like to apply for that position.
Really getting our feet under us with the Twin Falls location. It was a big nut to crack. And as a result, we are just now getting to the point we can get back into distribution. We are a small 2-barrel brew house. For those that don't understand, a barrel, that's about 62 gallons. It's not a lot of beer in any one batch. Our brewer usually brews about 4 to 5 days a week right now to keep up with demand between the two locations.
Okay.
So it's, we're at the growing point.
What's the name of your brewer?
Kim Trapp. Kim would prefer to not be on camera.
She would prefer to chew her own arm off. We did have a chance to meet her in the brewery there, and she's fantastic, very personable, very
Very nice.
committed.
Yes.
Makes
doing a
delicious
great
beer.
job.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She actually came on as our distribution manager right at the beginning of COVID, and everything went boom. At one point there during COVID, she picked up the brewing process and started working on brewing. And she's been doing an incredible job for us the whole time. She's a very, very conscientious person.
Yes.
Really cares about how the beer comes out, whether it tastes right. No brewing experience.
She just liked to drink beer. Because
She-
Kim came in here a lot.
Wow,
Her and her
that's
husband would
amazing.
come in here, and she was like our guest. And then that's what happens when you become really good guests. You end up being employed by us.
We do a big beer garden at the 4th of July here in Buhl every year. She stopped by the table and we were talking, and her family kind of pushed her into it. It's like, you like beer, you should come do this.
Start
And so
making it.
we brought her on. She's done some great improvements in our brewery.
Well, she's had a really good teacher, and she's been a great student. So between the two, this is what you get for that.
How long does it take from beginning to in the keg, ready to serve? Average. I know some beers need to age longer and take longer, but how long does that process actually take?
2 to 3 weeks typically for a batch. We do not add chemicals to our beer. There are chemicals that you can add that will cause the yeast to fall out of solution. I'm trying my best to keep our beer as natural as possible, and because of that, we tend to use gravity. Irish moss goes in during the boil. Last little bit of the boil is used to capture the proteins. But the yeast itself, it gets all in the solution, and it takes a little bit of time for it to fall out. That's what produces a clear beer. For us, we use time.
How many barrels / kegs of beer do you guys make a year?
So the Eclipse came to southern Idaho. We actually brewed the black trout and the golden trout specifically for the eclipse.
Okay.
So we could end up with a black and tan. Golden trout was my son's recipe. The black trout was my recipe. My son, Rick, he's done a few recipes, done some brewing for us. That is a American Golden Pale Ale. The black trout is kind of a combination of things. Everybody wanted an IPA, so it's like, well, if I'm going to do an IPA, it's going to be a black IPA. It's going to be using old school Chinook, Cascade, piney hops. So it's a 90-minute black IPA done with old school hops. You got to measure all the hops in advance. There's 3 hops that go in every 5 minutes. You got to have everything measured because there's no time to measure hops between batches. It's an old school IPA.
There are a lot of pepper beers coming out, and I've had my fair share of them. And stay away from the habanero because that will be an inferno going down your neck. New guests come into the brewery. They're almost hesitant to try the jalapeno beer because they think it's going to be an inferno down their neck, but it's not. And I have to what I end up having to do is just give them a little bit sample so they understand that it's a refreshing beer. You have that jalapeno bouquet when you smell it. You have that flavor when you taste it, but it's not a hot beer. I personally think that the way that we produce that particular beer, you don't get that grassiness. It's the same difference between eating a raw jalapeno and a cooked jalapeno. All those natural sugars come out and you get the jalapeno has more depth when it's cooked. So I think that's the difference between our jalapeno beer and a lot of pepper beers that are out there, just simply the way that we process and make our beer. When you're eating something raw versus sauteing it, all those wonderful flavors come out of what you're eating.
They get happy.
Yeah, they get happy.
We mentioned earlier, all of our beers, we don't use additives or anything like that. Number 7 is a pumpkin beer. That one has 15 pounds of pumpkin in a 30-gallon batch.
Wow, that seems like quite a bit.
That's a lot of
But
pumpkin.
it's actual pumpkin. We use sugar pumpkin. We do that with all of our stuff. Our berry beers are by huckleberries or chocolate cherry porter or actual cherries, as opposed to a cherry extract or a cherry
Or simple syrup or sugar.
Or syrup. I'm very proud of what we do. The ingredients that we put in our beer are real ingredients. They're not go to the shelf and get your syrup bottle and pour it in. They cost a little bit more money that way, the way that we do it, but I think the end result is you actually taste the fruit. You actually taste what we're putting into our beers. I hate when I'm drinking a beer that says, well, it's this and this. It's like, well, okay, maybe.
Kind of, a little bit.
Maybe kind of. It's more of a mind suggestion than a palate. You got your brain set for that flavor, and it's very disappointing and very disheartening when you drink that particular beverage, and it's like, if you say so.
Yeah, it's just not there.
If you say so.
The proof is in the
I
pudding.
think there's some hazelnut in there, but I'm not sure.
I don't know.
2 of these beers obviously were made that way, the chocolate cherry and the JPA. And those flavors are definitely very forward in there and very real, not an imitation. I mean, that jalapeno I can still taste it. There's a little tingle, but it's definitely jalapeno. The chocolate cherry, same thing. Very dark chocolate, and then a great cherry finish on the end. It was absolutely amazing.
My favorite thing about the El Diablo is the flavor of the pepper. There's a little residual heat, but it's so minuscule, it doesn't cloak the pepper. When I said green, I mean I can taste the pepper. Such a delicious taste when you can isolate that.
Black trout?
Black Trout IPA.
Black trout. Oh, it's an IPA.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
What's the IBU on this one?
79 IBU.
And that's what I've learned with an IPA. You don't mess around. You don't sip that. You hit it.
IPAs are meant to be drank.
Yes.
It's like hot sauce
Drunk?
and chips. You
Drinks?
just keep eating.
Yeah. Just hammer it.
Do you want to hand it off to a real man? I'll drink it for you.
I gotta go. I'm going to go now.
Oh!
It's roasty, which is surprising for an IPA. Almost kind of sweet a little bit.
I can taste the malt big time.
And then it starts to turn into an IPA towards the end.
Look at the legs on this one. This
I
has
know.
been the leggiest beer we've
Look at
tried so
that.
far.
That is beautiful.
Mm.
And I love the color of this.
It is pretty.
It is.
So a lot of the color from this comes from Midnight Wheat, which is a black wheat. We get it from Colorado Malting Group. It doesn't have as many coffee tones to it as like a roasted barley or
Right.
Like
or
the
a
stout.
black.
Because it does have a hint of the coffee notes in there.
And I didn't want something that tasted like a stout IPA.
Right, like most of them do.
Your name starts with a capital V.
It's all right. What do you say is the number one beer out of the 10 that are on your board right now?
The blonde is probably our number one seller, but the jalapeno I think is second, and I believe that we do a lot of brown. I pour a lot of browns, a lot of porters. There'll be a couple that comes in. She will order the stout. He will order the blonde. I always say, you go, girl. I just think it's kind of cool that we have a female following.
You guys have made such a success out of this place. And,
Yes.
and your new place in Twin Falls. I mean, everybody I know loves it. We love the food.
Yeah,
we love the
you
beer.
guys.
We love you guys.
Yeah.
You're amazing. What would be your advice to someone wanting to start their own brewery, brew pub?
Oh, you better be passionate about what you're doing. If you think it's just going to be something that you can just fall into, there's a lot that comes with it.
Owning a brewery is very much a passion. Just because you got money doesn't mean you're going to walk in and create a good product. You got to have some passion that goes with that. And then I would say just do it. We started it with an angel investor at about $30,000. We did everything. That was kitchen, brewery,
Everything.
So you can do it. We do not have the nice, big, shiny equipment. We're a 2-barrel brew house, 55-gallon drums with food-grade liners for fermenters. We've got a couple of plastic conicals, but be prepared to work your butt off.
You also have to be self-motivated. You know, you have to get in there every day, put in the hours, and make it happen. And I think that's what
Absolutely.
you guys have done. And we really appreciate it. You guys make great beer. You make great food. And we got all these new products. Check this out. Basalt Stout Latte Soap. This is brand new. These guys just came out with it. Oh my God, it smells so good. I think I'm going to buy a handful and take home with me. They make these hot sauces. What do we got? Habanero and
And green habanero.
Oh, and green habaneros. Tons of great beers, a nice wine list, a couple of ciders. The food menu here is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they've got the Scottish egg.
Oh, God, I love the Scottish egg.
One of us is a Scot.
It ain't me.
We are in Buhl, Idaho. A nice little small town. They also have a location, we mentioned it a couple times, in Twin Falls, Idaho. It's right there on Main Street. If you guys are in the area, come in, check out their food. Say hi to Rich, Judy. They're always available.
They're very personable. They set you down, and the minute you walk in, your family. If you screw it up, it's your own darn fault. And they ride. Beers, bikes, and byways. You know what? These two actually ride motorcycles when they have a break.
We want to say thank you to all of you for
Absolutely.
making us what we are today. Without you, there wouldn't be us. Those of you who have never heard of us before, we have 2 locations that you can frequent. We have our Buhl location. We have our twin location. We are family friendly. Children are welcome to our place. We have a beer garden in the spring and summertime here in Buhl, so puppies are allowed. You know, we are ale house. We don't do lagers or any of that kind of stuff, but I think we make some pretty darn good beers. They're all over the place. We have light beers, medium beers, dark beers, spicy beers, fruity beers.
And she makes some incredible food. Our recipes are all family recipes.
Yes.
Did a lot of motorcycle rides, and we found lots of things. When we started the brewery, those things ended up on the menu. She's done an incredible job of interpreting things that we found on our motorcycle rides. It was things that we ate on the road and we liked.
We thought it would be a good fit for our places. You will need to come hungry. Good sized portions of food.
Good portions.
Amazing mac and cheese dishes. We make our own meatballs. We make a lot of our own stuff. A lot of our own sauces. We make our own gravies.
Virtually
our potatoes.
everything.
There's a lot that goes into what we do. Good, wholesome food. If you go away hungry, it's on you. I just want people to come in and have a really good meal and a good visit with us.
Magic Valley Brewing, thank you.
Yes.
Rich, Judy,
Thank you, guys.
It's been an honor. We couldn't wait to get here and share these guys with you. You know, these guys are really outstanding. Come on down and make a pilgrimage if you have to. You take the scenic route, take Mellon Valley, take the Thousand Springs Highway 30 route, whatever you got to do to get here. A spaceship. Come on over. Come on over and check it out.
You lived in cubicle land in high school even?
You know what? We got to do a nod to Dogfish Head, one of my heroes.
Did I say brewery or brewing?
It is just fine.
What's number 4?
Show 'em paintbrush.
Oh,
Wow.
she's got it. That's a chef thing. You wouldn't get it.
Happy?
Judy and I get it.
Happy.
Hello. You're the kind of guy that would eat soap.
Well,
It's because it's got beer in it.
oh, this soap is delicious.
Don't eat it.
Oh,
That's why I said bubbles, tiny
I'm
bubbles.
tiny.
Subscribe to their channel. Hit the like button. Subscribe to their channel.
Thank you, man. That's a wrap. Next Valley Brewing. Come on down.